Thank you for the invitation. It is always a pleasure to explain what is Mondragon. I'm Ander Echeverria. I was born in the town of Mondragon. I live in the town of Mondragon, and I'm working in Mondragon Corporation. I studied first engineering in our university, Mondragon University. Then I studied sociology in Bilbao, in another university, in Deusto University. And I did my internship of sociology in the corporation 23 years ago. It was first an internship, I was a student, then it was a contract, and then member. I'm going to explain you later what it means member, to be member of a cooperative. First, I was in the training center of Mondragon, 7 years. Then I moved to another cooperative, a technological research center that is located in the town of Mondragon. I was 11 years in that technological research center, human resource manager, personal manager. And since 5 years and a half, I'm again at the headquarters. This is a cooperative, and I'm in charge of cooperative dissemination. I explain people from outside what is Mondragon. I do it here at the headquarters. Now I am at the headquarters, and I also do it traveling around the world. My idea to explain what is Mondragon in 40 minutes, more or less, and then to answer your questions. 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours. I'm going to share a document. The document is not so important. The most important is what I'm going to say. I don't use all the document, but some slides, and I'm going to share with you the document. So don't worry about the document. First of all, I have taken a photo of what I can see from outside this office. So you can see that today we have a beautiful weather, but now I'm inside the room. But you can share this quite beautiful picture. Yes, okay. So I'm going to start. First of all, some figures about Mondragon. We are 95 cooperatives in the Mondragon Corporation. I'm talking from the north of the Spanish state, from the Basque Country. And in the Basque Country, there are more or less 2,000 cooperatives, 2,000. We are only 95. And we are famous around the world. We are going to see why. 96 cooperatives, and cooperatives are in the Basque Country. Then many cooperatives, especially industrial cooperatives, have subsidiaries around the world. Subsidiaries in China, in France, in Brazil. These companies, 141, are not cooperatives. Cooperatives are 96 and are located in the Basque Country. Companies abroad are not cooperatives. And then we have 23 umbrella companies for the corporation to function. How many people? 82,000 workers in the corporation here and around the world, and the incomes, the turnover, more or less 11,500 million euros. Well, I'm a member of a cooperative. One of these 96 cooperatives is Mondragon headquarters. I'm a member of the cooperative. Do you know how many people are we working at the headquarters to serve the group, to serve 82,000 colleagues? We are only 60 people. Why only 60 people? Because cooperatives are autonomous. This is a very important idea to understand Mondragon. We are a kind of companies that are friends, and we are together because we want. And if there is a cooperative that is not happy in the corporation, can leave the corporation. Brexit is possible. We don't want to happen, but it's possible. Autonomous cooperatives. 96, what kind of cooperatives? Well, most of them are industrial, 64 are industrial, machine tools, medical devices, scaffolding, bicycles, components, automation, different businesses. There is a credit cooperative in our corporation. This credit cooperative, Laboral Cucha, in the Basque Country is the second financial entity. There is a consumer cooperative in the Spanish state is number 5. Agricultural, only 3. One, for example, is to produce cows for milk. The biggest cows company in the Basque Country, cows are living outside. They are not inside, they are living outside. Educational, 8, the university and some schools. One of this school is the biggest in Spain. Okay, I have 2 little children. My children are studying, 2 little girls are studying in this school, this cooperative school, the biggest in Spain. What I'm paying for them is the same fee that pays any other person. It doesn't matter if I'm a member of a cooperative or not, the same price for everyone. And do you know how much is the fee for a student? 40 euros per month. So it's a kind of public-private cooperative, 40 euros per month. Research and development, 14. In one of these cooperative, I was working 11 years, human resource manager, personal manager. Now you are going to understand that to change from one cooperative to another one, it's not automatical because cooperatives are autonomous. They are going to recruit the person that they think that fits better in the job. And this person can be someone that is coming from inside the group or from outside the group, autonomous cooperatives. And then 5 other kind of cooperatives. 96, 95 are open to the world. They are selling their products and services everywhere. The university is open, the credit cooperative, the consumer cooperative, all of them are open, the school, but one is just for the members. And the name of this cooperative is Lagunaro. Lagunaro is our private social security system, complementary to the public social security system. So we have a private social security system. It is about our pension, about our insurance, our health insurance, and this is only for us, for the members. 95 open to the world. We are 96, but in the Basque Country there are 2,000. And why are we famous? We are going to go to the history to know about the reason for the creation of Mondragon. The reason starts in 1941 with this man. It was a priest, a Catholic priest, Arizmendiarrieta, Jose Maria Arizmendiarrieta, and Arizmendiarrieta came to the town of Mondragon in 1941, 2 years after the end of the Spanish Civil War, 1936, 1939. He came in 1941, and he had mainly 4 ideas in his mind, 4 ideas. Dignity of the human person. Arizmendiarrieta is going to say, the priest, God is sacred, we are sons and daughters of God, we are sacred. In the center of all his activities, the man, the woman. If we are going to do a revolution, are we going to sacrifice a little part of the group for the rest? No, 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 no. No one is going to be sacrificed. We are sacred. Solidarity. When I explain this in Spanish, is easier because I mentioned one of the book written by one of the followers of Arizmendiarrieta. Mr. Ormachea says, at that time, between us, between the pioneers, in Spanish, solidaridad a raudales. In English, there was a flood of solidarity, a lot of solidarity. The thing is that today, we don't use a raudales, this expression, a flood, with solidarity. There are a flood of other things, but not a flood of solidarity. So solidarity today is present. At that time, it was much present. Work in the Basque, this is the Basque country, in the Basque tradition it is something positive. And that was in the mind of Arizmendiarrieta. Work is the way we develop ourselves. We are working and working, I implement my skills, my competences, and I become an integral person. What else? Arizmendiarrieta is going to ask why we work, and he's going to answer, we work because we have to improve the society. That's the reason to work. Or in another way, he was a priest. He said, God did the work, but the world is not finished. We are going to help God to finish, to complete the world. How? Working. This is work for Arizmendiarrieta. And then education. It was also very, very important for Arizmendiarrieta. We have to remember that at that time, a little part of the society, 1%, rich people, and they had access to university studies. The rest of the society, no money, no studies. Education is fundamental. One of the things that Arizmendiarrieta is going to learn in the seminar is that we cannot be waiting for the problems to come, but the problems are in front of us. What we have to do is to identify a problem, to propose solutions, and to implement these solutions. And at that time, Arizmendiarrieta is going to say, the problem is that the world is in crisis. The First World War, the Spanish Civil War, the Second World War, this is a disaster. The world is in crisis. We are going to change the world. And if we want to change the world, Arizmendiarrieta, when he said the world, he meant the region, the society where he was living. If we want to change our region, we usually have two options. One, to change from the top to the bottom, and for that we must be here. And the other option is to change from the bottom up. That was the option of Arizmendiarrieta. He was going to change people. He was going to create a new person. And to create a new person, he had a tool. And the tool is education. But Arizmendiarrieta had not only one tool, he had two tools, education and work. Because depending how it's work, we are going to be one way or we are going to be another way. We are going to see how he did it. We are in 1941, 2 years after the end of the war. This society was destroyed, not physically, because here there were relatively few bombs, but socially it was a civil war. And Arizmendiarrieta is going to start working with young people. He's going to meet every day more than 100 boys and girls, 14, 15, 16 years old. And he's going to start organizing with these young people cultural activities, sports activities. They are going to organize music concerts, literature contests. They are going to organize little lotteries to get money to help poor people in the town of Mondragon. They are going to organize football match. They are going to organize debates about social problems. Well, little by little, the town is changing because these young people are working together, are organizing all these kind of activities together, but their parents in the war were fighting once against each other. The town is changing since 1941. What is going to happen in 1943? There was a school in the town of Mondragon, a vocational level school, electricity, mechanics, but it was only for few people. It was exclusive. It was owned by the biggest company in the region, and it was just for the workers or the relatives of the workers of that company. Arizmendiarrieta is going to talk to the owners. He's going to ask them, please open the school to everybody. And the answer was no. And no for Arizmendiarrieta was not the end of the process. He met the authorities of the town of Mondragon, people that had money, and he convinced them to create another school. And he did it. In 1943, Arizmendiarrieta created another vocational level school that today is Mondragon University, open to everybody. Okay? So we have this kind of activities, cultural, sports, and we have education to everybody since 1943. But it was not enough. Arizmendiarrieta is going to give a little talk in the school every day from Monday to Saturday. At that time, Saturday was working day, 20 minutes after having lunch. If we ask the people that at that time were students and were in this speech or conferences of Arizmendiarrieta, well, how was a conference of Arizmendiarrieta? The answer was, I understood nothing. If I ask my mother, I'm living here, Ama, Mommy, how was a sermon of Arizmendiarrieta at the church? My mother says, I understood nothing. What happened? Arizmendiarrieta had clear ideas, but once he started talking, he mixed the ideas, and it was very difficult to understand. But these students, well, today they are 90 years old, they say, we understood nothing, but it was every day the same ideas, every day the same ideas. So in months, in years, the ideas of Arizmendiarrieta were in our mind. Okay, and education is so important that he's going to convince some of these boys. There were boys and girls around him, but he's going to convince boys to study not just the vocational level degree, but to study engineering, to go to the university. 11 young people said, yes, Arizmendiarrieta, I want to study engineering, but I have a little problem. I'm not rich. My family has no money. I have to work. That was the problem. The solution of Arizmendiarrieta, he reached an agreement with a university in Spain, the University of Zaragoza, so they could study by distance, by correspondence. They are going to be working and living in the town of Mondragon, and they are going to go to the university just 15 days per year to do the exams. And this way they are going to finish their career. Okay, so we have students, engineers, we have sports activity, cultural activities, but what is so important for people? Work. Work is the way we develop ourselves. Arizmendiarrieta was not happy with the conventional formula of the companies. In the conventional formula, here are the owners, few people, they have all the power. Workers have no power and the salaries are very low. We have to put people in the center of the company. And to change companies, to transform companies, Arizmendiarrieta started giving conferences. He's going to be in the 40s, in the early 50s, 10 years giving conferences. In the early 50s, he's going to say, well, what are the results of this strategy? A lot of people have attended my conferences. They agree with my ideas, but no one has changed her company. No one. This is a better strategy. I have to do something different. And his brilliant mind is going to identify an opportunity to change the biggest company of the region. And it was when this biggest company, the owner of the previous school that was in the town of Mondragon, was to do an increase of capital. Arizmendiarrieta, with his followers, asked the company to, before doing the increase of capital, offer shares in a lower price to the workers. So workers can buy shares and they are going to have power. And the answer of this company was no. And for that, for Arizmendiarrieta was not the end of his idea. What he said, okay, it's not possible to change a company. What we are going to do is to create the company we want. And for that, I have engineers, but they are not just engineers. They have been with me more than 10 years, organizing different kinds of activities, taking part in the debates. They are ideologically with me. And that was in 1956. They are going to create the first company in our experience. The company is going to the name of the company is going to be Ulgor, because not 11 engineers, but 5 engineers are going to say, yes, Arizmendiarrieta, we are going to create a company with you. They were 5, they used their family names, Usatorre, Larrañaga, Goroñogoitia, Ormachea, Ortubay, Ulgor. That was the first company of our experience. So Arizmendiarrieta came to the town of Mondragon in 1941. In 1943, he created the school. And after years and years of education and activism, they are going to create the first company. 1956. If you check in Google, what is a worker cooperative? Because they created a worker cooperative. You can see that in Google, it is said that people that have no work, they are going to be together to create a company, so they are going to have a job. This is not our case, because these 5 people, they were working in another company. They were working in the biggest company of the region. But the thing was that they had no decent work. They were just workers. They had no any power to decide or to give an opinion. They felt themselves in a very, very bad position. They had not the opportunity to say nothing. They wanted a job where they could take the decisions. And so they created a company where they put all the capital and they have all the power. This is what is a cooperative of Mondragon we are going to see now. The first idea is, if I'm member of the cooperative, I work in the cooperative. Most of the cooperatives that are in the world, I can be member of the cooperative, but I don't work in the cooperative. Imagine that I'm living in a region that there are vineyards, and there are many cooperatives to produce wine. Imagine that I'm working in a factory that has no relation with the wine, but my family has vineyards. In September, we take grape and we put grape in a cooperative that is going to produce wine. In this cooperative, there are 4 workers. They have no grape. They are not members of the cooperative. And me, I'm working in another factory. I have grape. I'm a member of the cooperative. This is not our case. In our case, what we put together in the cooperative is not grape, it's work. What does it mean? If I'm a member of the headquarters and this is a cooperative, I work here. I work here 8 hours or 9 hours and finish. It has no sense to telephone another cooperative of Mondragon, for example, the cooperative that makes bicycles, Orbea. Hello, Orbea, how are you? I have 10,000 euros. I don't know what to do with this amount of money. I want to put this money in your cooperative. I want to be a member of your cooperative. Has no sense. I'm a member of my cooperative. I work in my cooperative. When they created the first cooperative in 1956, all the workers were members. All the members were workers. This was in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s. But then in the 70s, we had the petroleum crisis. It was a very difficult moment. Some of our cooperatives disappeared. And we decided that the most important was to create the jobs, not to create cooperative jobs at that time, but to create jobs. So since the early 80s, in our cooperatives, we have members and we have temporary contract workers. And since that moment, all of us, we start working with a temporary contract. So in my case, it was first an internship, then it was a temporary contract, and then it was a membership contract. More or less, in our cooperatives, if we take the whole workforce, 80% of the workers are members, 20% of the workers have a temporary contract. And all of us, we start working with a temporary contract. That means that few weeks, few months before the contract is going to end, the cooperative is going to say something. The cooperative is going to say, in my case, oh, sorry, there will be no work for you since the 1st of January. So the 31st of December, the contract is finished, the relation is finished. Well, or it could be we want you to be a member and to continue with us since the 1st of January. In that case, if they offer me to be member, I have 2 options. I have the option to say no. If I say no, the 31st of December, the contract is finished, the relation is finished. Or I can say yes. If I say yes, I have to put money. So the first day is not just work, but I have to put money. I have to do a contribution. And how much money? In most of our cooperatives, industrial cooperatives, agricultural cooperatives, the university, 16,000 euros, 16,000 euros. If I'm going to work in the retail sector, in a supermarket, the consumer cooperative, in that sector, salaries are lower. It's not 16, it's 10,000. The question is, the thing is that this amount of money, it cannot be an obstacle to be member. And depending the sector, can be more, can be less. On average, in our cooperatives is 16,000. And I don't have to put the first day 16,000 euros, but depending the cooperative, the bylaws of the cooperative, it can be, I can have 1 year or 1.5 years or 2 years period to put the money. So in these conditions, and in this region, 16,000 euros or 10,000 euros, if I'm going to work in the retail sector, is not an obstacle to be member. If instead of 10,000, 16,000, it was 40,000, cooperatives will be only for rich people, but not 16,000 euros. What happens with this money? So this is the first day, 16,000, 20% of this money, 3,200 is a fee. This is for the cooperative. This is for all of us. And 80%, 12,800, this is my money. And the name of this money is my capital. So I have a capital since the first moment if I put all this money the first day. And then what happens with the capital? So the first day, 12,800. And then at the end of the year, we do the accountability. We know if we have earned or lose money. If we have earned money, we have to decide in the General Assembly what to do with this result. And usually we decide to share 30% of the profits between us, between workers. And workers are members and temporary contract workers. Okay, temporary contract workers get this money cash, well, in their bank account. They can do whatever they want with this money. But in the case of the members, if we have profits, 30% for the workforce, in the case of the members, this money is for us capital. That means that the first day I have 12,800, at the end of the year, I have more. If it is not a good year, I'm going to have less. And when I can take my capital, only when I finish working. Now, I cannot ask my cooperative, please give me 10,000 of my capital because I'm going to buy a car. Has no sense. I can take the money only when I finish working. I finish working when I'm going to retire, 67 years old, or I'm going to take the money if I change my house and I'm going to live to a great country. I'm going to live to Slovakia. So I can ask for my money. I finish working and I ask for my capital. Or if I go further, yes, in that case, the capital is for the family. This is what we say, member is the same than worker, is the same than owner, but because we are the owners. Owner of the cooperative is not a third part, is not the government, is not Mondragon. They are, in this cooperative, they are the owners of this cooperative. The owner is not the government, is not Mondragon, is not a third part. And as the owner of this cooperative, they can do whatever they want with the cooperative. They can sell the cooperative. But to sell the cooperative is not in their mind, it's not in our mind. What is in our mind? What's the mission of Mondragon? What we want to do is to improve the society. And we think that there is a practice way, a possible way, a real way to improve the society, and is to create jobs, to create good quality jobs. This is what we are doing. This is what we want to do in 5 years, in 50 years, in 100 years. Okay, member, worker, owner. This is one of the main characteristics of the cooperatives of Mondragon. Another one member, one vote. It doesn't matter if I'm a member since 3 years ago or since 35 years ago, one vote. It doesn't matter if I'm the boss of the department or not, one vote. And it doesn't matter if I have 200,000 euros of capital or 20,000 euros of capital, one vote. We vote once per year, or at least once per year, in the General Assembly. The General Assembly is once per year or at least once per year. We take the most important decisions in the General Assembly. Daily decisions are not taken voting. We don't vote for the daily decisions. Daily decisions are taken by supervisors, managers, directors that are elected by our representatives. And any member, it doesn't matter who, can be the president of the cooperative, can be member of the governing council if we vote for them. This is the second main characteristic. And the third one, what happens with money? The year is finished, we do the accountability, we have profits or we have losses. If we have profits, 30% more or less for us, 10% for the society. This is low. And here the law is the Basque cooperative law. 10% for the society means 10% of the net profits of each cooperative for cultural groups, sports clubs, non-governmental organizations every year if the cooperative has profits. And then the thing is, if we share between us 30% of the profits, how we share this amount of money between us? Because if we take the example of the cooperative that is producing wine, if in that cooperative there are profits and I am a member, I'm going to get more or less profits depending the quantity and quality of grape that I put in the cooperative. But in our case, what we put together is not grape. What we put together is work. So how we share this profit between us? We have to remember Aritmendiarrieta. Work is the way we develop ourselves. We are working to improve the society. And Aritmendiarrieta said we are working to help God to complete the world. That means that all the jobs are similar. They have the same dignity and they have to have the same salary. That was Aritmendiarrieta. But Aritmendiarrieta was very intelligent and he continued the sentence. If we pay the same, it is not going to work. Here, it's not going to work. Maybe in Slovakia, yes, but not here. So we are going to establish a difference between salaries. But what difference? And they asked a question. The question was, if the job that contributes less to the company is going to earn 1, the CEO could have a good living earning 3 times? The answer was yes. Okay. The difference between the minimum salary and the maximum salary in the cooperative, 1 to 3. Today is not 1 to 3. Today is not a flood of solidarity. Today is 1 to 6. 1 to 6. If we compare us with our competitors, for example, the companies that are part of the Spanish stock exchange market, the IBEX companies, not Nikkei, not Nasdaq, but the IBEX companies, in that case, the difference is 1 to 86. In our case, is 1 to 6. If we take into account what I have said, these are our cooperatives, and many cooperatives are located in the region of the town of Mondragon. The name of this region is Alto Deva. Deva is the river. We are in the highest part of the river. This region is Alto Deva, 60,000 inhabitants. Usually, this is the region with the lowest unemployment ratio in Spain. Usually, this is the region that invests most in research and development because we want to continue existing. And usually, this is the region with the lowest economical inequality. If we measure inequality, economical inequality with the Gini index, one of the lowest in the world. The lowest in the world are Norway, Iceland, Sweden. We are close to them. And if you want, we can start with the questions. I have many other things to say, but I can start with the questions.
Okay, I have few, if I can start.
Milan, go on.
Yeah, it was very interesting that what you presented, and you already answered a few of my questions, but based on the presentation that you gave, why abroad, outside of Spain, the subsidiaries are not cooperatives? They are just regular companies. I understand
Yes.
it right?
This is a contradiction. We have many contradictions, and this is a contradiction. We are cooperatives here, and we are not cooperatives outside. The reasons. There is one reason that is legal. In some countries, there is no cooperative law. In China, there is no cooperative law. And in other countries, there is no cooperative law. And then there is no, in some countries or in some regions, there is no cooperative culture. For example, we put the first factory in Mexico in the late 80s. Once the factory was working, we decided, okay, why not a cooperative? First, we were there because the big car factory, we were suppliers of this big car factory, telephoned us here and said, hello, you are my supplier? Yes. Do you want to continue being my supplier? Yes, of course. Come to Mexico and put a factory close to our assembly plant. Okay, so we went there, we started working for them, and then we decided, why not a cooperative? We explained Mexican workers, well, you can be members of the company. This can be a cooperative. For that, you are going to work not just in the machine, but you are also going to take decisions. Some decisions are not popular. You are going to be trained for that. And well, you are going to put an amount of money to start working. You are going to put $5,000 to start working as a member? And the answer was, sorry, I have to put money to work? No, thank you. Yes, no cooperative culture. This is something that is we have tried in other places, in Brazil, for example, and it was the same reaction. And then there is something also that we don't know how to do it. Imagine that we have a factory in France, and one day we are going to go to this factory and we are going to explain the workers there, well, you can be members of the cooperative. It's not a good start, because in our history, we have created cooperatives from the bottom up. And in that case, that would be from the top to the bottom. That's a good start. But imagine that they say, yes, okay, we want to be members, we put the money. We don't know how to do it because, okay, that means that in France, they are doing the same product than us. They have customers, our customers. Now they are going to do our product. They are going to have the same technology, the same know-how, and they are going to have the list of our customers, and they are going to do the same. We don't know how to do it. We have converted some companies that we bought in the past. They were conventional companies. We have converted into cooperatives. And we have done this in the Basque Country, and we have done this in Galicia, other parts of the Spanish state. But for example, to convert into a cooperative, the company of Galicia, we changed the law, the cooperative law of that region to allow to do this. And the formula was 51% of the power of that company, the matrix cooperative, and 49% of the power of that cooperative, workers of that cooperative. Well,
okay. So primarily you encounter cultural reasons why these companies are not cooperatives. Right?
Especially cultural and then legal.
Legal, yeah, cultural and legal. Because this answers the questions. Some people that are criticizing Mondragon, they are criticizing Mondragon of some kind of hypocrisy, or how do I say it, that in Spain you are cooperative and abroad you are not. So this is the answer. Thank you for that.
Yes. So this is a contradiction, and the thing is that the mission of Mondragon is not to cooperativize the world. Yes, it's not our mission. Our mission is to do a better society in the place that we can act and do that where we can have an impact. And it's here because there are many cooperatives. We are open to everybody in the world to come here to visit us, to organize a conference, to explain them this is what we are, including our contradictions, and do your best in your country.
I can imagine you come abroad to set up some company, and then you meet workers that are not used to the idea that they have to put some money so they can work for the company. Yeah, that was my other question. With the money, with that buy-in, with that share, or how should I name it? You, for example, you ask people in some sectors, you have to buy in with 16,000 euros. But can I give more? Can I give you 100,000 euros? And still have one vote? I understand. I still have one vote, but can I give you more?
Today, I will say that it's not possible in any cooperative. Historically, in some cooperatives, it has been possible. It has been possible. Why? Because the thing is that some people, they want to put more, because it's my company, but also because we have to decide every year in the General Assembly, in each cooperative, if we are going to pay an interest to the capital. And the rule in the Mondragon Corporation is that this interest goes from 0 to 7.5%. 7.5%. So there are many people that when they retire, they are 67 years or they retire earlier, they decide to keep their money in the cooperative because maybe this year the interest can be 3%, 1.6 or 7.1. And this is an amount of money that we get in our bank account. It is not going to increase the capital. So it is a money that we use for whatever we want.
So when I give you this buy-in of 16,000 euros and I start working for you, and after 40 years, for example, I get retired, then I get the buy-in back, but with its actual value. That value can be more than 16. Before 40 years ago, it was 16,000. But now when I'm getting retired, I am getting back more. This value can increase. Do I understand it correctly?
Yes. So the first day, 16,000 euros. Then at the end of the year, we have profits more. If it is a wealthy cooperative, more, it can be maybe 200,000 euros.
When I get retired,
yes,
I get back because the value of whole company increased, so my share increased.
No, but it's not because of the value of the company increase. It's because we have had profits every year.
I see.
Not because of the value. It's not a financial mechanism.
So it's depending on profits.
Depending on profits.
Okay. And then you said the cooperatives are autonomous. They have they make decisions autonomously. You say it in English. They are autonomous financially also. What is the connection between these independent cooperatives? You have to be connected somehow. What is the connections? Financially or financial or voting connections or decision making some kind or what is there?
Yes. So what I have explained is what is a cooperative. Now I'm going to explain how are cooperatives united. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm going to share again the PowerPoint. Yes. Here are some rules. The main rules are here in this slide. One rule, if I'm a cooperative in Mondragon, I'm going to accept members from another cooperative if they have no work in that cooperative. Relocation between cooperatives. This is a rule in our group. For me, that means that if one day I have no work in my cooperative, I have the right to work in another cooperative. If there is no work for me in any cooperative, I have the right to be trained, to be more employable. And if still there is no work for me in the group, in the corporation, I have the right to get an unemployment benefit for 2 years. Lagunaro, company that is going to pay me part of my pension and the health insurance, is going to pay me the unemployment benefit. The thing is that in our history, no one person has extinguished this 2 years period of unemployment. So this is one rule. Another rule, not internal competition. Not internal competition, and it is not written, but it is not mandatory to buy in our cooperatives. So if I need a stamping machine and there is a cooperative that is making stamping machines, well, I can buy in that cooperative or not. I'm going to try to buy in that cooperative, but it's not mandatory. The thing is that cooperatives must be efficient, and buyers, customers, cooperatives or not, are going to buy the product because of the price, the quality, and service, not because we are part of a group. Well, another rule I have explained, 16,000 euros initial contribution. I have explained now the interest maximum is 7.5%. If I'm a cooperative and I am part of the corporation, I have to send all my information every month to the corporation. So they are monitoring the situation of each cooperative. The narrow remuneration system is also for all the cooperatives of Mondragon, maximum 1 to 6. And then what about money? So we have 96 cooperatives. This is the corporation. And inside the corporation, there are subgroups, small groups, what we call divisions. So the first thing that we do once the year is finished, because I have mentioned 30% of the profits for us, 10% for the society, 60% for ourselves. This is the net result, the net profit. But before the net profit is the gross profit or gross result. Okay, we're going to the gross result. The year is finished. We do the accountability. We know if we have earned or lose money. And inside every division, so the whole group and subgroups of cooperatives that are called divisions, inside every division, what we do is to put together part of the result. Cooperatives that are earning money are going to help with money, with part of the results. Cooperatives that are losing money, or cooperatives that are earning a lot of money are going to help cooperatives that are earning less money. This is what we call the pooling of results. What percentage we put together? It depends on the division, but between 15 and 40% of the result. In a cooperative can be 15, in another one 16, in another one 39, between 15 and 40% of the result, they are going to share between them. This is something.
Can I ask supplemental question? Yes. Don't you get in the cooperative some complaints from more productive divisions that are complaining we have to finance these low the divisions with low productivity or something? The solidarity is very present, or there are complaints, or how this works? Because here in Slovakia, I experience it with unions in some trade union, big organization, when some company level organization are bigger and they are complaining they have to finance this smaller company level trade union organizations, and the solidarity is kind of a problem here. So how is it there?
The thing is that this is a long race marathon. Mm-hmm. And we know that now if my cooperative is in a crisis, in a bad moment, I know that 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it was just the opposite. It was your cooperative and we were helping your cooperative. And we know that in 3 years or in 5 years or in 7 or in 10 years, it will be just the opposite. You are going to help me or I'm going to help you. This is about a long story, a long history. Most of our cooperatives, if they are more than 10 years, they are existing thanks to the group, because in one moment of their history, they were assisted financially by the group. This is our history. This is what we know. Then, this is also an incentive for our cooperatives that today are better to help, not just with money, but with their best practices, maybe with some of their best technicians or directors, to this cooperative to be better. This is an incentive for that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there are these kind of commentaries, but they are not very powerful commentaries because they know the history. Mm-hmm. So this is the first step. Once the year is finished, gross profit, we do the pooling of results. Second step, we do again the accountability. Cooperatives that are earning money, they are going to give 14%, 14% of their profit to the corporation. And the corporation is going to use half of this money, 7%, to help companies to be more efficient, to go international, to create new businesses. This is thanks that they give, or the corporation give them loans with a low interest. So the loan must be paid back. This is a loan. And 7%, the other half of this money, is going to give the corporation to the cooperatives that are non-profit, the university, schools, and research centers. This money is also used to give the cooperatives that are in trouble, so more money for the cooperatives that are in crisis. And it is also used for the big social projects in the region. And then the third step is to pay taxes. And the fourth step is the net profit. 10% for the society, 60% reserve, 30% for us. So these are the main rules. There are many more, but these are the main rules. Uh-huh. So if you are part of Mondragon, you accept all these rules.
And from these 96 cooperatives, how many are there in Spain?
All of them are in Spain. All of them are in the Basque Country.
All of them
Some
are.
of
Okay, I understand. And the other ones that are abroad that are not counted in this 96.
No. So
Okay, I understand.
96 in the Basque Country, and then 141 abroad, and 140.
I see.
are not covered.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. And one
Guys,
more.
just sorry to interrupt, just
Sorry, go
comment
on.
for the audience, guys. If you want to ask questions when you are on Zoom, you can ask via chat. If you are watching on Facebook, just write the question into the comments and we will come to the questions.
Yeah.
Milan, watch your Facebook page. I'm watching ours, and there are a few questions
Okay, I'm
from our
refreshing
audience.
my Facebook page now. Okay, there is nothing.
Sorry to interrupt, go on.
Oh, okay, it's okay. I have maybe 2-3 questions more. I was really interested in this ratio about wages. Low wage worker to CEO or the high wage worker, you said is 1:6, and it was 1:3 before, when the solidarity was more present, or how should I say it? This is very interesting number. I read it in an article. Do you remember, or do you have the information why it got lower from 1:3 to 1:6? This ratio, how did it happen?
Yes. The first change, so the initially was 1:3. Then the first change was when in Spain there was installed the taxes, paying taxes, personal taxes, yes, and the proportion was different. So in fact, it was not at 1:3, but it was 1:2. So they increased to 1:4.5. Well, because of the taxes. But the main change was 1:6, and it was after a debate. And the debate was from the managers. They said, well, there are many jobs outside here that are earning a lot of money. There can be some people that can be attracted by these jobs. We can have a lack of talent. So we need to increase our salaries. And it was voted by all of us. And the solution was 1:6. So 1:6 is an equilibrium.
Okay.
I don't know what is going to be in 5 years or in 10 years or in 2 years. This is an equilibrium between these two forces. Yes, the difference cannot be big. We don't want inequality. And the other force is talent attraction, people that can go out to other companies to earn much more money.
And couldn't that be solved by raising the low wages? You know, because you raise the low wages, also the higher wages go up if they're even lower ratio.
The thing is that, well, most of our colleagues are not managers, yes? So managers, few people, and most of the workers are not managers. Not managers, they have the same salary or better than outside. The same or better than outside, a good salary. And managers have a lower salary or much lower salary than outside.
The managers outside, I see.
Than outside Mondragon.
I see.
But this is a lot of money. They are not rich, but this is a lot of money.
So
this,
okay, continue, please.
This is a good salary. You can ask workers. This is a good salary. If we compare with companies outside Mondragon, and in the case of the managers, this is a lower salary, but this is a lot of money.
Okay. So the lowest wage worker in the Mondragon earn more than the lowest wage worker in other companies outside Mondragon.
In general, yes.
In general, yeah. Okay.
The same or better, yes.
Okay. What you presented here is very great example of how to do business. Are you portrayed in Spain as an example of this way how to do business in media, for example?
So
you know, you should be your media in Spain should praise you for what you have accomplished. If you are portrayed as a good example how to do business, if you are in media, if there is an interest, medial interest, there are articles, discussions, and so on. If you can present this example in public media, that is.
Yes, there is an interest about Mondragon since the beginning. The first person that was interviewed was the priest at Mediarrieta. So since the 60s, there are journalists, researchers asking and doing PhDs about Mondragon. And this is also today. It has been always a point of attention in the world. But I think that for the world, this is something particular, special, and I don't know what. But yes, they are sympathetic and okay. But people in the world don't see this as an alternative.
And do you teach this alternative also in this university of yours? This alternative how to do business? Do you spread these ideas about how to do business?
Our university do both, conventional and cooperative, both, not just cooperative. Both.
And you said there one more thing. There was like this. You had four aspects: dignity, solidarity, work, and education. How the founder of Mondragon was approaching to this, and it sounds like a good political program to me. Like dignity, solidarity, work, education is pretty much what we need, I think. I was wondering if some of your members or managers or I don't know got active in politics somehow to pursue these ideas in much larger scale.
That's an interesting question. No. On the one hand, Mondragon has no relation with politics. Yes, we have very good relation with all politics. One side, one wing, the other wing. We are important for them because we create jobs and we have good relation with everybody. But there is no special feeling in our workers to be part of the politics. There are politicians, yes, and there has been one of the president of the Basque country was a member of a cooperative, but I think it's not something special.
Okay, I understand. Okay, Michal.
Now we have some questions from the audience. So let's start with the one from Zoom. Do you think that Mondragon Cooperative and the principle of solidarity would work without spirituality, without what brought sorry to mispronounce it, Arizamandienta into the whole thing?
The answer is yes, of course. Yes, of course. I have said today, well, I have said implicitly today, I have not mentioned solidarity, except when I'm talking about that in Mediarrieta. Then what I say is, for example, relocation between cooperatives, this is solidarity. 1 to 6, this is solidarity, but I don't say solidarity. I just say 1 to 6, and everybody understands that it is solidarity. So the thing is that these values are in the rules. They are part of the structure. And they are accepted. And it is very easy for the new workers and for us to accept that you are going to have a good job, a good salary, that you are going to have 1 vote, and the general manager is going to have 1 vote, that you are going to take part in the most important decisions, that you are going to have a good salary, and the boss is going to have a better salary, but not a big with a big difference. So when you are in the community, in the town, the difference between this person and you is not so big. And there can be a kind relation. So the thing is that it's not so important today to teach these kind of things. It is important, but not so important because they are part of the structure.
So the relationship between ordinary workers or low-wage workers and between the managers, the relationship is close. It's not that big of a gap between them, like you know, professionally or like a human relationship, because you know, in common capitalist companies, mostly the workers hate managers, managers manipulate workers, and so on and so on, and the relationship is not so good. And I think with what you described here, the relationship is okay, right?
Today is Thursday, and Thursday and Friday and Saturday, if you are in the town of Mondragon, you go to a bar. There are many people in a bar, or today we are in summer outside the bar, taking a wine or a Coke or something. And you are in a bar with your group of friends, and maybe in your group of friends, there is a blue-collar worker, there is a president of a cooperative, there is a non-cooperative worker, and there is another group of friends in the same bar doing the same, and in that group of friends, there is a general manager, and there is a blue-collar worker. This is normal.
This is normal. Okay. So there, I understand there is no need to establish trade unions in Mondragon because everything can be discussed democratically, voted, and so on. Do I understand it correctly?
No sense. No sense.
No sense. It makes no sense.
No sense.
Okay, that's nice. Let's leave the other question, Michal.
No, other question from the audience is how does it work in Mondragon if there is an issue with an employee, you know, bad behavior, or they don't go to work on time, and manager decides that this person has to leave the company? What are the responsibilities and rights of a manager and an employee in such cases?
Yes.
Or it never happens, no? But this is just hypothetical.
So if there is a crisis, first, if there is a crisis, I have the right to work in another cooperative. I'm not going to be redundant. But imagine that I steal, or imagine that I hit someone, or imagine that I don't work. I'm always late, and they give me an advice, 1, 2, 3, I can be fired. I can be fired. And sometimes happens. There are every year, we are 96 cooperatives. There are every year in one cooperative or in another cooperative, the governing council decides someone to be redundant because of these kind of things.
How are actually these decisions made collectively? Who gets fired and who stays? Or is it kind of secret vote, or how is it done?
Yes, I'm going to share again the PowerPoint. Wait. This is the chart of a cooperative. It doesn't matter what cooperative in Mondragon, industrial, agricultural. This is the chart. First of all, is the General Assembly once per year, or if we do more General Assemblies, extraordinary General Assemblies. We meet in the General Assembly all the members, and we take the most important decisions. For example, if we are going to open a factory in Argentina, or if we are going to meet to join another cooperative, or we are going to increase the salary or to cut the salary, the General Assembly. And every year we have to approve or not the accounts of the previous year, the program of this year. Every year we have to decide if the initial contribution is 16,000 euros, is more, is less. Every year in the General Assembly we have to decide if we are going to pay an interest to the capital. But the thing is that if we meet once per year, it's not possible to run a cooperative. So we have to take another decision in the General Assembly. Who between us, who between all the members is going to run the cooperative? Is going to be part of the governing council. For that, I have the list of all the members. Me too, I'm in that list, and we vote. And who is elected? The people that we think are the best. For example, the worker that knows about Android the worker that is working in the warehouse, the worker that is working in the accountability department, the receptionist, and they say they are part of the governing council. They are in the highest body after the General Assembly. They say, oh, I have no idea about management. And we say from the headquarters, don't worry, you are going to go to the training center of Mondragon. The training center of Mondragon is called Otalora, where I started 23 years ago. This facility is the training center. So they go to the training center and they have a course about what is a governing council, the powers, what to do, how to work. And after the course, people of the governing council, they say, well, I know much more than before, but I don't feel okay to manage the cooperative. So these people, not all of us in the General Assembly, but members of the governing council are going to elect a general manager. And the general manager is a person that knows about management and is going to work full-time for the management of the cooperative. Because workers, members of the governing council, if someone is an Android programmer, this person is going to work 7 hours for Android and 1 hour for the governing council. But in the case of the general manager, this person is going to work 8 hours for the management of the company. And the general manager is going to elect her team. He's going to elect the human resource or personnel director, marketing director, production director, management team. Then the law says, if you are, if I'm not wrong, if you are more than 100, it's mandatory to have a control body, an oversight committee to check in any moment the accounts, the decisions that are taken in the rest of the bodies. And then we have no trade union. We have a social council. This is a special body. This is another kind of line in this chart. In the other lines, the meaning is power, hierarchy, authority. And in this case, is about communication. The social council is a communication body. First of all, it is elected in a different way than the governing council members are elected. For the governing council, I have the list of all the members of the factory, but for the social council, I have the list of the members of my department. So we vote in each department because it's a communication body. And the social council do 2 meetings per month. One meeting, the whole social council with the governing council, the president of the governing council, and the general manager. One meeting. In that meeting, they are going to know about the situation of the company. And the second meeting is every member of the social council with her department. This is what we call the little social council. And in the little social council, this person is going to explain her colleagues the situation of the company. And at the end of the meeting, she is going to ask, what your problems, what your questions. They are going to take the problems, the questions, the suggestions, all in all the departments, and they are going to meet the social council, the president of the company, the general manager of the company, and next month they have the answer. In my previous cooperative, I was member of the social council. I had 2 meetings. One meeting, me and the rest of the members of the social council with the president and the general manager, and the second meeting, me along with my department. And in that department, in the little social council, take part members and not members. No place for a trade union.
And sorry,
And for the sanction.
Okay.
So if someone does something horrible or someone doesn't work and this person have been said, please work, no, and he's late or she's late every day, the sanction is made by the governing council. If this person is not happy with this sanction, doesn't agree, can go to the General Assembly. And in that case, we all vote for that. This is how we work.
so the General Assembly, that is all the members of cooperatives, right?
Yes.
And they are voting for governing council. And governing council makes the everyday decisions, right?
Governing council, they have the
How many people is governing council?
Minimum 3.
Okay.
Minimum 3.
Okay, and general manager is voted by who?
By the governing council.
This minimum 3 people vote general manager.
Yes.
And to become a member of governing council, any member of general assembly can candidate.
Yes.
Can be candidate. Yeah. Okay. And how do you do that? That only best people become members of governing council, because we have here in our republic the situation that many times happens that not the most capable person becomes, I don't know, politician, but only a person who can make a lot of fuss, who can make who is loud, who is populist, who present themselves as capable but is not so capable. They are these candidates. They are running some campaigns about among the members, or how does this work? That good and capable people become members of governing council, and then not just some populist on some or just somebody who is the loudest.
The answer, Milan, is blowing in the wind. This is about democracy. This is about democracy. In many cooperatives, before elections, they try to use the social council to say, well, we are going to elect our colleagues for the governing council or for the social council or for the oversight committee. And we think that the best profile is blah, 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 blah. Yes, we do also these kind of things. But people are free to elect whoever they want.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that there are no candidates in this culture. Imagine that I want to be part of the governing council, and I ask the rest of my colleagues, please vote for me. They are not going to vote for me. Why? This is very strange here. There are 2 ways. One way is, first of all, for the governing council, the term of office is 4 years. So if I'm part of the governing council, I'm going to be 4 years in this body, and it is mandatory. I cannot say no. It is mandatory for every body, governing council, oversight committee, and social council. It is mandatory. Governing council 4 years, oversight committee 3 years, social council depends. It depends on the cooperative, 1, 2, 4 years. But for the governing council, for example, 4 years is the term of office, but we vote every 2 years. Every 2 years, we change half of the body.
Yeah.
So before the elections, the governing council propose candidates. If they are going to change 4 people, they propose 4 candidates, and in the same page, they put place for the people to write their candidates. Yes, it's not just 4 names, but a place, empty place. This is one way. The proposals from the current governing council. And the other way is, imagine that, well, I'm concerned about the situation of the company, but I have 2 little daughters. My mind is, I have no time for that. When I'm taking a coffee with one of my colleagues that I think that would be a good candidate, I'm going to comment to this company, well, I think that you will be a good candidate. You will be a good member of the governing council. If this person says, well, maybe yes, I'm going to go to the rest of my colleagues to say, we're going to vote for this person. If this person taking coffee says, no, I'm very busy. Okay, I'm going to try talking to another person. So this is the second way. These 2 ways are complementary. This is the way that we choose our people for the governing council or for the oversight committee or the social council. We try to elect the best one.
So in your experience by now, for the years that you worked there, the quite capable people were elected in these bodies, right?
Yes.
Quite capable people. Okay, that's nice.
Yes, sometimes this is also interesting. For example, in an industrial cooperative, yes, In the industrial cooperative, most of the workers are blue-collar workers. And, well, they can be angry with the general manager, and they do a campaign, but they can do a campaign. If there is a campaign, that means that the relations in the cooperative are not good. Yes, they do a campaign, and there are elections, and the winners are, most of them, part of the blue-collar workers. Members of the governing council are blue-collar workers. Now they have the power. And what happens? They are in a kind of crisis. Okay, now we have the power, we have the responsibility. What can we do? Are we going to remove the general manager? But it's our responsibility. Who are we going to contract?
I see.
Who knows if it is better or not?
Yeah, they feel now the pressure of the responsibility. They have to make the right decision.
Yes.
It's not so easy to do.
We are ordinary people. We are normal people.
Okay.
And are there any rules how many times someone can become a general council member? Is it restricted, or you can go and be there 5 times in a row? Or
yes, no limit.
So as long as people vote you in, you can spend your whole life in general council.
Yes.
Okay.
And the thing is that if you are elected to be part of a body, then you have the right at the end of the period to be trained, because probably you have lost contact with your business, your professional skills.
Another question from the audience was about the unemployment. What is the unemployment rate, and how is it handled when someone is unemployed or can't be employed? When I remember correctly, you said something about up to 2 years the person can stay home.
Yes.
Can you describe it a bit more, please?
So if there is a crisis, there is no work for me in any cooperative, the situation is going to be managed by Lagunaro, the Lagunaro cooperative, the private social security system that is just for us. Because if we have no employment, the unemployment benefit doesn't come from Spain. If I'm a temporary contract worker, yes, in that case, the unemployment benefit comes from the general system in Spain, but in the case of the members, is from our system. So if there is no work for me, this company is going to be always looking for jobs.
Sorry to interrupt. So I thought that it comes in parallel, the social support from the government as well as the social support from cooperative.
For the unemployment,
you are somehow excluded.
Yes, for the social, the support of the state is just for the temporary contract workers. And in our case, is the group, the corporation support. Yes, the thing is that we don't pay for that monthly. So temporary contract workers, salary workers, they pay monthly to the state a tax. So if they lose their job, they are going to get an unemployment benefit. But it's not our case. We don't pay for that. We pay for that for the group, to the group.
Then it's some kind of special rules, because in Slovakia, this is, Milan, correct me if I'm wrong, this is not possible. You have to pay the taxes and the social benefit and everything that is kind of mandatory here.
But this part of the tax, yes, this part, we pay the rest of the taxes, but not this part. So we are not supported by the state if we lose our job. We are supported by our cooperative.
Okay, so these people don't get supported during the unemployment by government, but by you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And this is managed by the cooperative Lagunaro. Lagunaro knows the situation of each cooperative, and Lagunaro is going to try not to pay you the unemployment benefit. I mean, it's going to try to give you another job. It's better for all of us and for the system that you have a job. So Lagunaro knows the situation of each cooperative, and if it is a wealthy cooperative, Lagunaro is going to call this cooperative, and well, maybe you have a job for this person. And well, if it is possible that there is an interview and this person can go there to work.
with all you just said here, I think, or I take it, there is little fluctuation of employees there in comparison with other companies. Am I right? People don't want to leave Mondragon.
No.
They are
No.
happy there, right?
Look,
Because it sounds like a happy place for me where I would work if I could. So I think the fluctuation should be lower than in other companies.
you have a good salary, except, well, all of us, we have a relatively good salary.
Yes.
Except managers, they have lower, but it is a good salary. It's a lot of money. Okay, a good salary and a steady job. Steady job. And then the thing is that if one of your colleagues is not very nice and is rude, and if you smile in the morning and you say hello, good morning, but your colleague says blah, 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 maybe you are not happy. Maybe Sunday afternoon you start feeling nervous because tomorrow I'm going to work and I'm going to work close to this person. It's not a nice person. This is also possible. We are normal people. And this is not a perfect model. For me, it's the best model, but it's not perfect. So a good job in terms of you have one vote, the same amount of votes of the general manager. You don't vote every day. You don't take the daily decisions, but the most important decisions. A good salary and a steady job. But this is good.
Okay, and what about absence of employees? Because this is the major issue here in Slovakia. People go to fake doctors to get fake disease, and they stay home, and we have a big problem with this here. But mostly, I think it is because the environment of the company is not so good for workers, and they take any opportunity they can to avoid work. Hey, so how is the situation with absence of employees in Mondragon in comparison to other companies?
Well,
companies in Spain.
I don't know. I would say it's similar. We will say that in theory should be different. Why? Because in our case, there is a social control. So I'm working hard and I am a member. You are not working hard and you are a member. I'm going to say something to you, or my face is going to change when I am with you because you are not working hard. Yes, the social control is important. But then it depends on the cooperative, because maybe the custom in a department is to take 10 days if I have a cold. And if you are part of this department, you are going to learn that, well, 10 days because of a cold or influenza. In most of the departments is 3 days, but maybe in one department there is no so big social control. It changed from one cooperative to another one, from one department to another one, but it's not heaven. Yes, it's not heaven. And in theory, we will say that no, there's a big social control between us, but in practice, it's not so much.
I ask these questions also because I read an article about Mondragon, and there were mentioned that Mondragon is experiencing lower absence of employees due to diseases or due to some fake visits of doctors and so on. That's why I ask you if you don't have this information. But if you don't, it's okay. But it's just I read it before this interview. So
no, it depends. It changes from one cooperative to another one. From the specific culture of one cooperative, if we compare with another one. Yes.
Andre, can we talk a bit about the productivity of your workers and owners? Because I assume this interests the audience, because in the end, this is what is it all about, or should be all about, whether you are more productive and whether you know of how much more are you productive than in a normal corporation.
I think that this
Because
is
you
a-
have to compete with other companies, so you know
Yes.
it's practical to be more productive.
Yes, I think that this is something that we cannot know because there are some studies, yes, and I think that the study says that we are more productive. But what are you going to compare? 2 cooperatives and 2 non-cooperatives, 1 and 1 to 10 and 10. You can make a conclusion. You can make a conclusion with this. What is the most important? The most important is that if we exist, is because we are efficient. If 70% of our industrial production we are selling abroad, for example, in Germany, this is that we are because we are very efficient. That's the most important information. And we want to continue being efficient. And for that, we have plans. There is another data. I have said that this is the region with the lowest unemployment, normally, the lowest unemployment, the region with the lowest economical inequality, normally. And this is also the region in the Spanish state that invest more in research and development because we want to be efficient and we want to continue existing. So I think in theory, we could say, oh, I'm the owner of the company. I'm going to be responsible of the future and the present of the company. I'm going to work more. But this is in theory. I don't know if it is real in practice. What is real in practice is that if your company has 20 years or 30 years, this is because you are a very good company. If you're not a very good company, you have no future and you have no present. There is another slide in the PowerPoint, our 10 principles. It is not written, but there is another one, very, very important, and it is efficiency. If this is a cooperative and we have this impact in the society, it's because we are a business. And it's because we have profits. If there is no profit, there is no a social project. There is no a cooperative. So it is fundamental to be a business. A business, and then the thing is how to share the money. I have explained how to do with the money, how to work inside the cooperative, but we need to be profitable and we need to be efficient. No efficiency, no future.
Yeah. If I can jump from one thing to another, we have here a question from public regarding to buy-ins, to these contributions that they have to pay if you want to be a member. And the question is, when you are paying these contributions, you have to save the money first and then pay it, or you can work and part of your salary is taken away for contributions till you paid all.
The initial contribution, you mean?
Yeah, initial
Yes.
contribution, I mean. Yeah.
Yes. The thing that is that it has to be easy to be member. It has to be possible. And so if I'm not wrong, the first day is mandatory to put 20% of the initial contribution, 20%. And then 1 year, 1.5, 2 years. It has to be something easy or quite easy.
I see.
Most of the people, when they are part of a cooperative of Mondragon, they are going to be 1, 2, 3 years with a temporary contract. Once they know what is the system, they start saving money. Another case, they ask their families, give me money, I'm going to be member. And what do their family do? They give their son or their daughter money because parents, they want their children to have a good job, a steady job, and be living close to them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
When in this region, someone is invited to be member and becomes member, there is a family celebration. This family goes to a restaurant or we have gastronomical clubs in the Basque Country to celebrate. The member is very happy because now I have a steady job, it's my company, and it's a challenging job. Many jobs in our cooperative, if we want to have a present and a future are challenging, this person is happy and the family is happy also, because, well, it is a steady job and a good job.
Okay. Michal, do you have something? Or...
No, there is another question from audience. I can read it. Normally, we have employment contracts in which the amount salary per hour of work is. You can actually read it yourself under, because it's in chat. You can just click on the Q&A in the chat and you will see it.
The question starts with word normally. Normally, we have employment.
No.
It's a long one, so I don't want to read it for you, you know.
I don't know. I don't know how to, if I understand or how to answer. In our case, in my case, well, first of all, the 1 to 6, yes, one, how much money is one is decided every year in the corporation, and it's more or less 1,000 euros. Sorry, is 16,000 euros gross per year. One. This year.
How much? 16.
Yes, 16.
You are talking about the initial contribution now?
Yeah, the same amount.
Okay.
The same amount is one. Few people, the salary of few people is one. Yes, I would say from no people has this salary, one. So this is decided in the group, and then most of the companies, the number of hours per year is more or less 1,700. So this is also accorded. This is also agreed in the corporation. The salary and the hours per year, and more or less is 1,700. Then change it depending on the sector. Yes, in the credit cooperative is less, and in the retail sector is more.
Oh, wait, so you just said you are every year you vote, all the members, what the minimum wage in Mondragon will be for that year? Did I understand it correctly?
Well, the thing is that every year in Lagunaro, this special cooperative that is composed by the rest of the cooperatives, because it's a second-degree cooperative. A second-degree cooperative is a cooperative where there are members, workers, and cooperatives. So in Lagunaro, cooperatives are the cooperatives of Mondragon. And workers are their workers. Yes? And these cooperatives, every year in Lagunaro, decide what is one. And imagine that if one is 16,000 euros and my salary is 2.1, you have to multiply. Very easy. If the general manager of my cooperative is 5, you have to do 16,000 multiply 5. If a blue-collar worker of my cooperative is 1.9, you have to multiply.
Okay, so we are talking 16,000 euros is one per year. Per year.
Yes, per year. Yes.
Yeah, so I just do the calculation. It's like 1,333 euros per month. And this is much more than the minimum wage in Spain. That is some kind of 900 something.
It's more.
It's more, yeah.
More. In any case, 16,000 euros gross per year is few money. It's more than the Spanish minimum, but it's few money. Most of our cooperative workers have a higher salary.
And you have some kind of internal guidelines, which job is what salary or something?
Yes,
like?
This is a handbook decided in each cooperative, in the General Assembly of each cooperative.
And it's voted. It's voted.
Yes,
yeah?
in each cooperative.
It's
yes. And the implementation is done by the general manager, approved by the governing council. So, for example, we have a handbook, and the handbook says if you are general manager, 5. If you are not general manager, but marketing manager, 4.1.
I see. So the
Yes.
coefficient, or how, I don't know,
Yes.
English word for it, coefficient. I see.
So this is the handbook. But then we have a new member who is going to decide if this new member is going to be 2, 2.1, 2.2. This is decided by the general manager and approved by the governing council, not by all of us in a general assembly.
How do you raise capital under if you need some bigger injection of capital? Can you lend money or borrow money from the bank easily, or is it cumbersome, or do the members raise the capital, or how is
do
it
you
done?
use some state support? Or
Yes, 14% of the gross profit of the cooperatives that are earning money goes to Mondragon. Half, 7% is going to use Mondragon to give loans to the cooperatives. Okay, so one way is to ask money to Mondragon, to the corporation. Is that one way? Another way is to ask money to to our bank, to our credit cooperative, and to other banks, to other financial entities. In our case, it is very easy. I know that in some cases around the world, if a cooperative goes to a financial entity, what is a cooperative? What are you doing? It is not easy, but we have no problem in that sense.
Yes, because you have all the information, you know, what you are using.
Yes, as any other company, it is about efficiency. It is about business.
Can you tell us what is the average wage in Mondragon? Average wage for the whole company or for the whole cooperative? Average wage. Average salary.
Every page.
No, average wage.
Average wage. If I'm not wrong, 2.6.
Okay, that's more than average wage in Spain in general.
Yes.
Yes, okay, that's nice.
Yes.
That was my other question.
Question from the audience: are there any relevant state legislation financial help advantages for cooperatives and for non-cooperatives?
No.
So is government supporting you in any way, or not at all?
No. The thing is, if the government has...
Sorry to interrupt, but do you ask governments or injections? Because, you know, usually companies, we can sing songs about it here in Slovakia. They want to get tax credit and tax breaks and whatnot, and they very often get it as an kind of injection from government. How is it in your case?
Well, two answers. We pay less taxes. If I'm not wrong, a conventional company pay 26% at the end of the year to the government. The tax is 26%. In our case, it's 14. But 14 then plus 10% for the society. That means 24. 26. The thing is that there is no any cooperative in the Basque Country that it is a cooperative to pay less taxes. The difference is not big. 26, 24. In a paper, you can read 14, but then we have to pay mandatory 10% to the society, sports clubs, cultural clubs. So 14 plus 10, 24, 26. This is one of the answers. The other answer is, if the government wants the companies to be environmentally more friendly, there are some money for the companies, and this money is for conventional companies and for cooperatives. Or if the government wants the companies to be more to do more research, there are aids, there is money for that, but there is no difference between cooperatives and non-cooperatives. We have many cooperatives that have money from the government to do research, to do less pollution, to do more gender-friendly and this kind of programs, but are not programs for cooperatives, are programs in general. They are for cooperatives and not for non-cooperatives.
Now, another question that we had prepared is how is it done when some short-term important decision needs to be made and it's just not possible to do it democratically? Who makes the decision, and afterwards do you have to somehow justify yourself that you made the decision in front of everyone if it explodes into your faces, kind of, or how do you handle such situations?
I don't think that happens in our cooperatives.
Lucky you then, because in business it happens often that something just unexpectedly explodes and you have to improvise. And
or maybe I can add to this question: how do you handle when you are standing in front of tough decisions? This decision goes against short-term interests of workers. They, for example, have to cut their wages or something. You have to explain them, and there are many of them. These people are different. They are different IQ, EQ. I don't know. It is not tough to explain them the tough decisions that goes, I think, in short term against them. They understand, accept this, or don't they?
There is no a decision that is against the workers, but it can be a decision that is against us, because we all are workers. So it's not the workers and the managers. Managers are workers. We all are members. But decisions, I'm going to share again the PowerPoint. Decisions are going to be approved by the governing council. Decisions are decided by the general manager, but are going to be approved by the governing council. The governing council can ask the social council, should ask the social council its opinion. The social council can ask her colleagues in their department their opinion. There are always possibilities to know the opinion of the people. For example, last year, in the pandemic year, in our company, we took a decision to cut our salaries. It was a common decision. First, the decision was taken between us. We are just 60 people. Then it was approved in the General Assembly. It was officially approved in the General Assembly. We did a General Assembly for that. But before calling for the General Assembly, between us, we accepted the situation. It is not about you and me. It is about us. There is no confrontation. You are now part of the governing council. You're going to be 4 years. Then I can be part of the governing council.
It's interesting how my views are clouded with this individuality approach that I am experiencing here, because everyone is acting as individual. This is my individual interest. My individual interests are against your interests, and so on. And you're talking about this cooperative as this is us. This is our kind of little society. We make decisions that are affecting all of us. We all are on the same boat. This is very nice to hear after so many years of not hearing this. That sounds good to me.
And this is part of the structure. Yes, it is not about, because people here are socialist, communist, liberal, or no. This is a cooperative.
Cooperative, yeah.
If you ask our people, my colleagues, thousands of colleagues, what is this? Is this a capitalist model, communist model, socialist, soft capitalism, domesticated capitalism, real socialism? 99% of my colleagues are going to say, I don't know. This is a cooperative. If you ask again, they are going to say, I don't know, this is, and they are going to say the name of the cooperative, 99%. And 1% are going to say, yes, this is a soft capitalism or this is a socialism. Professors of the university. This is what we are living now. When cooperatives were created, the main power to create cooperatives was because they were Christian and they believe in the Christian social justice. It was in the 50s, 60s. Then in the 60s, 70s, it was socialism, the 60s, and Basque nationalism. They wanted to create another society, socialism. And in the 70s, especially, they wanted to create another Basque country. It was nationalism. Since the 90s, it is about pragmatism, since the 90s. And we try to create another important idea today. And maybe we are working to create this important idea in the area of sustainability. I think that this model fits better with a new planet, a better planet, a sustainable planet. And we try to convince our colleagues, convince ourselves that this is a great model for a sustainable planet. But we are doing this construction little by little. It's not easy. In the 50s, Christian, then socialist and nationalist. Since the 90s, pragmatism.
Yeah.
And how do you handle the question of growth? Because it goes against this environmental principle. You know, on one hand, you want to grow, I assume. On the other hand, you should understand, or you probably understand, that growth goes against nature in the end. So what do you do?
Yes. So in the 60s, especially in the 70s, in the 80s, it was grow, grow, grow. And for example, the river we have here, this is the Alto Deva. Deva is the river. Deva was in the 70s, in the 80s, one of the rivers with the most pollution in Europe. And it was also because of the cooperatives. Today is, no, this is unacceptable. We have to take measures. We have to invest in new facilities, new machines, new procedures. We are going to do it in another way, in a respectful way towards the planet. But we want to continue creating jobs. Today is very difficult to create new jobs because we also have robots. We have digitalization. So it's very easy to grow. The thing is if we are trying to create new jobs, and there is another problem, demography. Demography is going down. So I don't know about the future of work. It's an interesting debate.
No, it will be interesting in the future. Question from the audience: how are new cooperatives founded? People with idea go to Mondragon Corporation, and some assembly can decide if it makes sense, and well, the cooperative is founded, or how is it done? It's in chat, you can see it yourself.
This is also very interesting. We are 96 cooperatives, and in this area, there are other cooperatives that are not part of Mondragon, but they are part of the same culture. They are also worker-owned. They are similar to Mondragon. There is a media cooperative with a TV channel, radio station. There is a marketing cooperative. There is a...
How many did you say there are? How many did you say there are these cooperatives like Mondragon in Spain?
I would say important in terms of jobs, more or less 10.
Okay.
More or less 10. Sport, media, linguistic consultancy, marketing, more or less 10. They are not part of Mondragon, but they were created in the same culture. They were created by our cousins, our friends. If they want to be part of Mondragon, they have to accept what is Mondragon. So once a cooperative is created, they can ask Mondragon to be part of Mondragon. The thing is that one of the most difficult problem to be part of Mondragon is the relocation. Relocation, I have no work, I have the right to work in another cooperative. If we have no sport companies, if there is a cooperative related with the sport, and this cooperative is going to be part of Mondragon, and one day they are in crisis, and there are 20 people without work, where are going to be them relocated? That's the problem.
But
so
then they get that unemployment benefit from you if there is.
yes, but it has no sense. It's 2 years, and then we have a problem.
I see.
A problem. So the thing is that in practice, we are accepting companies, cooperatives that are part of this culture, but they are doing something similar or complementary than us.
Because of this relocation aspect.
Yes. And then another thing also related with this is, in the last years, we have created few cooperatives. What we have done is to create new businesses inside the cooperatives. We have diversified the businesses inside the cooperatives. Instead of creating new cooperatives, and some cooperatives also have merged. I have said that we are 95, we are 96 in this PowerPoint, but I have said many times that we are 95 because I have realized this week that 2 of our cooperatives that have merged. So we are not 96, we are 95, but this is something that it is more and more common. Merging and creating jobs, creating new businesses inside cooperatives, instead of creating new cooperatives. There are, in the last 10 years, few new cooperatives in our group.
Yeah.
No, I think slowly we can wrap it up. So
I have 2 more questions.
No, I'm not saying we are finishing. I'm just saying to the audience, if you have any questions, so ask them please now, because in a few minutes, it's 2 hours almost that we are answering the questions and doing the presentation. Anders is surely tired. So,
No,
last call.
I'm not tired.
No, I'm just kind of pushing the audience.
Maybe Michal is tired. And
I'm not, I'm fine. It's just,
I would like to ask how are you keeping this thought of solidarity among and between workers, and how do you keep avoiding envy and jealousy? I know the people accept and respect and are aware of that they are on the same boat, and so, but during the years and as the time flies, the attitudes are changing and so on, and you have to keep the spirit of this solidarity between the people to make it work the way it works. So is this a relevant question for you, or it's too philosophical?
These values are part of the structure. And then we have a facility that I have mentioned, Otalora, the training center. It's a facility. My job is to explain Mondragon to the people that come from outside. And there are other colleagues that are doing the same to our people. So they are working in that facility in Otalora, and they organize every year, many times per year, a course for new members, a course for members members that have been elected for a body, social council or governing council. And they also have a special course for experts on cooperativism. They want, and is the, if I'm not wrong, the 11th edition of this course, because we want to have in each cooperative passionate members, passionate engines, cooperative engines.
Yeah.
So this all we are saying now is very lived or vivid. Yes.
So you intentionally pass the ideas to the new members. You have this
Yes.
generator of this spirit that
Yes.
ideas are still present. That's very good. I have one more question, maybe the last from me. we now, especially our organization and our trade unions, are starting a debate and try to provoke a debate about working time and about shorting the working time, to work less hours. Is this a topic for you in Mondragon or not?
Not now.
Not now.
Not now.
Okay, thank you.
Not now between us or in the Basque Country or in Spain. I remember when I was a little boy, there were some graffitis, work less to work more people. Yes, it was in the 80s, but I think that we have no serious debate about it.
Okay.
Sometimes some people, they talk about, but it's not something general and taken.
It's not on the table now. Okay, I understand.
Okay, then my last question, then there will be no any from the audience. Andrea, why do you think, or why did it happen in Basque Country that Mondragon was created? And why is it so that there are 2,000 cooperatives in Basque Country? What is this unique secret ingredient of that particular region of Spain, of Europe, that Mondragon, or the biggest cooperative Mondragon, evolved there? There must be something in the air. What do you think it is?
I think that we were very lucky to have Arimendiarreta. Arimendiarreta was a kind of natural phenomenon, an earthquake or a volcano, and the epicenter is in the town of Mondragon. Then the 5 pioneers, they were also great. And nothing else, because we are normal people. So what they did, I think this is great. They converted the values into a structure. They invented this model because it was not in the Spanish law. Then they changed the Spanish law, or the Spanish law adopted this model. The Basque law, cooperative law, has adopted this model, and we try to change the law when we need to be different or to do something different. We have very good relation with the members of the parliament. They don't know about cooperatives. We know about cooperatives, and we have very good relations. So the law is also supporting cooperatives. And the thing is that we are ordinary people, and this can work everywhere because ordinary people are everywhere. But the problem is that the model is not known. Many people in the world, they think that a cooperative is for people that they are working with subsidies. They are always asking money for the government, and they do what they can do, and they are not efficient, but they are a good, nice person. And okay, this is a kind of cooperativism. In our case, it's another kind of cooperativism. The thing is that if you check in our webpage or in the PowerPoint, our 10 principles, the principles are here. This is perfection. We are not here. I have been talking about the principles, but I have been talking about the principles from the reality. This is the reality. Between the reality and what we have written about the principles, there is a gap. There are many contradictions, many contradictions. But there is another reality, and is between what we are and the rest of the companies, there is another gap. And this gap allows to have this quality of life. 2 years ago, I had a group from California. They are a cooperative, arithmetic bakery. And they said, Ander, in our case, it's not 1 to 3. It's not 1 to 6, it's 1 to 1. This is great. In our case, it's not that we take decisions in a democratic way once per year, but every day. This is great. You are 50, 60, 70 people super powerful, and you are here. The good news is that we are ordinary people, thousands and thousands of ordinary people, and we are here, okay, far from the principles, or far or not very close on the principles, but there is another difference between us and the rest of the companies. And this is the difference that you can check in the society.
personally think this is the future of how companies should be managed and how the environment for workers should be, because I think so. And I think you think too, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the present and the future.
Now we can see it in your face how happy you are under. Okay, guys, so unless there are no other questions, I don't think any from the audience, and I think we can wrap it up after more or less 2 hours. So thank you very much, and well, till next time.
Yes, it was very inspirational for me. I knew that Mondragon exists, but I didn't know the specifics, and this is very enlightening. So thank you for that very much.
You are welcome, and we see each other
Right.
one day here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stay online. I just closed the webinar for live stream.